I had a surgery on my eyes. So I have something called keratoconus, which is where my cornea is like abnormally thin. And so what's happening is, while your eye should usually be like a slight curve, mine was like curving a lot to the point where it was getting shaped to like a cone. Hence keratoconus, right? That's why it's called that. So the procedure is called cross-linking, which kind of makes it sound like they're gonna make me cross-eyed or something. I don't know why it's called that, but essentially what they're gonna do, or what they did, was, or at least what they aimed to do, was to harden the cornea so that it doesn't keep changing shape. I went into the hospital. I went with my mum because they say you should bring someone with you, because obviously after the procedure, especially because I had it done on both of my eyes, I wasn't going to be able to see that well, so I needed someone to take me home. We went into the hospital. It was quite early. No, it wasn't even that early. It was like midday. I went in. The doctor, he talked to me about it. His assistant was there as well. Or the surgeon, I should say, and his assistant, because in the UK, when someone becomes a surgeon, I said sergeant. When they become a surgeon, you no longer refer to them as doctor something. You then refer to them as Mr. something or Miss something. And it's like, it's kind of weird how it goes like that. But I laid down on the bed, and then he was like, hey, you know, do you have headphones or something? If you want to listen to music while I do it, it's no problem. Because the actual procedure happens while you're awake. They don't numb you, or they numb you, but they don't knock you out or anything. It happens while you're awake. So he was like, if you want to listen to music to pass the time, it's all good. So I was like, okay, sure. I went into my bag. I got my earphones. And then I lay down and I plugged in my earphones. I was listening to the Succession soundtrack because there are no vocals in it. I was like, okay, let me just listen to some instrumentals. So the surgeon then pulls out this thing which looks like an electric toothbrush, and that's essentially what it is, or at least how it works. You know, presses a button and he's holding it like that. And then he said something, but obviously because wait, let me pause music right now. Because like I had my ears plugged with the earphones. When he said something, it sounded like and for a guy that's literally about to put something on my eye, I kind of want to hear what the hell he's talking about. So I was like, okay, let me take out the earphones. Let me actually understand what the hell this guy's saying to me right now before he stabs me in the eye. And he was like, dude, I thought you said that was okay. And I was like, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. He put these eye drops in my eyes, which are, what's the word? They're anesthetic drops, which stop me from feeling any sensation when things interact with my eyes, right? And at first they burned, but after a couple of drops, I didn't feel anything, and he was starting on the right eye. Essentially what he did to test it was that he put like water in my eyes, and he was like, can you feel that? And I was like, nah, I can't feel that. He was like, okay, cool. He got the toothbrush thing, and the way the procedure works, if you're easily squirmish, this might be the time to leave. But he takes the electric toothbrush, and essentially what he's trying to do is he's trying to remove the top layer of my eyeball, right? The epithelium. So he puts it on my eye, and he's like rubbing around like that to remove the top layer. And I'm awake while this is happening. And I don't feel anything except for slight pressure, right? That's all I'm feeling. Remember the eye surgery death in Final Destination? I actually don't remember that, and I'm pretty glad I didn't. That probably would have freaked me out. But I went into the surgery like really calm. To be honest, I was very relaxed during the whole thing. It wasn't actually that bad at all. But yeah, he puts this thing on the eye, he's sanding it down, and that only lasts for about, I don't even know if it was up to a minute, to be honest. It might have been more like 40 seconds or so. But once he's done with that, then what he does is he applies these riboflavin drops, which I believe is vitamin B. So he puts like a couple drops in my eye, and then he puts a UV ray like directly over my eye, and my job is to stare directly at the UV ray. And while this is happening, I've got like a speculum just holding my eyelids open, but it's not uncomfortable because obviously my eyes are numb at that point. And I just had to stare at it for, I think it was about 20 to 30 minutes that I was staring at it, and every so often he would put more vitamin B drops in my what's it called, eyeball. And that was the whole thing, really. Just drops, ray, drops, ray, like every 2 minutes for about 20 to 30 minutes. It was fine, to be honest. It was calm. I mean, I was talking to the surgeon. He was like, yo, he's like, yo, so you in school or something? You studying? I said, nah, I'm a YouTuber. He's like, oh, YouTuber, okay, what sort of videos do you make? I'm saying, I make gaming videos, you know, typical convo. Yeah, that was the right eye. It was all done. It was all good. And right after he was done with the right eye, he put water into my eyes to clear out the riboflavin because it's yellow, and so he wanted to clear out my eye. And then he put like an eye patch on my eye, so basically like cotton wool, and then what's it called? Oh, sorry, before he did that, he put a, what do you call it, a bandage contact lens. So it's essentially a soft contact. He put it on my eye, and that's just to you know, hopefully stop it from hurting too much. And then he put the bandage over my eye. So I'm gonna show you a picture of what that actually looked like. So yeah, that was a picture I took right after he was done. Oh, that's my left eye, actually. So I don't think I took a picture when he did my right eye. Either that or this image is flipped. I'm not sure, but I don't think the image is flipped, because obviously my left eye is covered, but he definitely did my right eye first. But yeah, this is what it looked like when he put that over my eye. I also have this video I took. It's very short. But, you know, just a little, you know, showing that I'm all good. You know what I mean? Put that in the family group chat. Make sure they know I'm okay. So, yeah, that was that. See, this is odd to me because I'm looking at the image and it's like, I feel like I did these during my first eye. So I think the image might be flipped because it was done with my front camera. After that, did the left eye, exact same thing, scrubbing it down. Eye drops, UV ray, all that stuff. Once he had done the other eye, it was basically done from there. Something I find funny, actually. Surgeons, I don't know if anybody has had experience with like talking to surgeons or whatever, but something I always find like funny about them is like they emit such confidence and like yeah, it's like, because this dude had like his assistant helping him, right? And then I remember at one point she asked him like, do you need the blah blah blah? She mentioned some sort of chemical. It sounded like a chemical or like some whatever. And then he was like, should you be asking me that? I was like, ooh. He straight up just said, should you be asking me that? Like, as if you should already know that I need that. I was like, damn, bro, okay. But I mean, yo, I want the surgeon to have confidence and to have that, yo, like, come on, mate, because obviously you need it. Yes, going pro, exactly. Surgeons have to show confidence. You don't want a surgeon who's like, all right, I think I can do this. No, it's like, you need to know you can do it. You need to know. After the surgery was done, I couldn't see, right? The eye patch was over my left eye this time. Even though in the image it looks like it was my left eye, but that was my right. Eye patch over my left eye. My right eye is blurry as hell. I can't see anything. So my mom and I take like an Uber back home. And yeah, I can't see a thing. You know, my phone, I had to set the text to the maximum size because I literally couldn't see. Yeah, my phone had to look like this the whole time. Just giant text compared to what it's usually on, which is like that. So yeah, I was in old man mode for a while. But yeah, to be honest though, it eventually didn't matter. So I got home, I was in my room, and I was sorting out my eye drops because I was given a lot of eye drops to use. The doctors recommend me not to use any screens, etc. Instantly goes on his phone. Okay, well, I mean, I got people to message, but let me like so you reminded me of something funny, right? So when I was on the operating table, it's not really a table. I wasn't in a theater. I was just in this little room, right? But as I was laying down on the chair, bed, whatever the hell you call it, I asked the surgeon, I was like, yeah, so how long do you think it'll take before I can, you know, start using the computer again? Because I was just thinking, you know, if I want to get back to working on videos, how long before I could realistically stream again? I do a lot of stuff on the computer, right? The computer is a big part of my day-to-day. So I just asked him, how long before you think I'd be able to use a computer again? And he was saying, I mean, it really just depends on the pain. He was like, yeah, it just depends on the pain. Like using computers won't damage your eyes, but it will hurt, and I was like, oh, okay, like, is it gonna hurt a lot? Like, how painful do you think it's gonna be after I'm done here? And he said, this is what he said, oh, it's gonna be agony. And then he just kept going. This was while he was doing this stuff to my eyes. And I was like, oh, agony, okay, yeah. Like, I was like, yeah, obviously, that's a very odd thing for a doctor to say, like, you're gonna be in agony. So I thought he was like joking. So I laughed a bit. I was like, agony, yeah. And then he was like, yeah. And then I'm like, oh, you're serious? Like, you weren't like pulling my leg. Like, I'm gonna be in agony. Like, agony. Okay. Bro. It's not good. Well, I would love to tell you that, he was exaggerating. But he definitely wasn't. Could I see the prescribed amount of eye drops? I'm actually gonna show you. So I was at home sorting out my eye drops. So they gave me this eye drop to use. I had to use this one 4 times a day. They gave me these eye drops, which are individual like pellets. Like you take one apart and then you twist the top and then you put it in your eye, one in each eyeball. So I had to use these once every 2 hours. So just for information, this was like my what do you call it? Antibiotic eye drops. These are anti-inflammatory eye drops. And he gave me I swear there was another one I had to use. No, it was mainly these two. But then he also gave me these special one-use eye drops, which were very similar to these, but just imagine it doesn't even have this bit and it's like smaller, and they're like one-use eye drops. But these were actually anesthetic drops, similar to the ones he gave me while I was in his like operating room, right? And the thing about like those drops is that they became my lifeline. And it's funny because all these other drops obviously came in like boxes and they had a prescription, but this dude brought me the anesthetic drops in an envelope, like an unmarked envelope. I'm like, are you sure you're supposed to be giving me these, big man? Like, I'm like, there was no name, no nothing. He was like, you're gonna want these, okay? And he's like, don't use it until your eyes start hurting. Don't use it before your eyes hurt. Don't use it to prevent pain. Use it when your eyes hurt. I was like, okay, sure, fine, no problem. There were 10 in the envelope. And my eyes hadn't been hurting me at all. But by the time I got home, about an hour in, right, the anesthetic that had been applied when I was in the hospital had worn off. And I was starting to feel a little bit of like soreness in the eyes, And what was happening is, even when I closed my eyes, usually when your eyes are a bit sore, when your eyes are a bit tired, you just close your eyes and then it feels better, right? This did not happen. I closed my eyes. It was like nothing was happening. It was like I had kept my eyes open for like 7 hours and had not closed them the whole time. And even when I did close them, it's like they weren't closed. Like they started to hurt a lot. And it was like a progressive pain. It just got worse and worse and worse. I was like, holy crap, this is bad. I start applying the drops that he's prescribed and it still hurts. I'm like, holy crap. Okay. And then I remember the anesthetic drops. He told me to put them in the fridge. I rush downstairs. I get the anesthetic drops. I put them in my eyes. And then I'm like, oh, okay, fine. It honestly felt like a pepper was just on my eye. Just on it, and I couldn't take it off. That's how bad it felt. It was bad. It was actually like really painful. I was not having a good time at all. And yeah, those eye drops, essentially, right, I had 10 to last me the whole time, right? And in the first night, I was down to just 5 left of those. So I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna make it. And it was also pretty bad as well because I had an incredible sensitivity to light. Like, the fact that I'm able to stream with all these lights is unbelievable compared to where I was at 3 weeks ago. Because 3 weeks ago, literally, the best thing I can use to explain to you where I was at with my sight, I'm gonna show you something, right? So you see this little blue LED on this. This was so bright to me. I had to like turn off everything. Like even this light made my eyes burn. It was painful. Like even the backlight of my keyboard, I had to turn my keyboard over because I couldn't like turn it off. So I had to actually just turn it like this. I could have unplugged it, but I needed a quick solution. Like I was so sensitive to light. It was unbelievable. So what I had to do is I closed my curtains. I'm lucky it's winter, right? Because it gets dark pretty quickly, but I closed my curtains and then I had to lay under my covers like the whole rest of the night and for like the next 3 days. Like I could not bear light at all. Obviously, I had a whole catalog of stuff I was gonna do while I couldn't see. We were discussing it in the streams leading up to my break. I was like, I'm gonna listen to audiobooks, podcasts, music, this, that, and the other. Dude, I was in so much pain. The only thing I could actually focus on was the pain. Like I couldn't pay attention to anything else. Like I was literally just in bed and I was just like, that's what I was doing for like the first 2 days were the worst. I was just like, Did you wear sunglasses? When I absolutely had to leave my room, such as going to the toilet or something, I wore sunglasses because, you know, there might be light coming from anywhere. So yeah, I did have to wear sunglasses at some points. Yeah, I was in a lot of pain. When it came to sleeping, I wasn't really, it was weird, right? Because I had draped myself in darkness, I was sleeping and also not sleeping. I didn't have a sleep schedule. I was in bed the whole freaking time, under the cover, not doing anything, and in complete darkness. I didn't know what time of day it was for about 3 days straight, right? So I don't know when I was asleep and when I wasn't. Because there was no way to tell when I was awake, because either way, I wasn't seeing anything. Like, do you understand what I mean? Like, when you're awake, you kind of know you're awake, because you're like, oh, I remember seeing that. I was in darkness for 3 days. I don't know when I was awake and when I was asleep. You know what I mean? I didn't have a sleep schedule. The line does not have the shocking effect on me that you anticipated. Fair. Kevin sent this. You think darkness is your ally, but you merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. Absolutely, absolutely. That's how I felt. So yeah, that's what was up for the first few days. They gave me ibuprofen for the pain, but apparently it was pretty weak. You know, they said take 1 200 milligram ibuprofen every, like, I think they said every 3 hours or something like that. But my sister, she got me Nurofen, which is like liquid ibuprofen capsules, and paracetamol, and she was like, take 2 paracetamol and 2 ibuprofen at once every 4 hours. So that's like 4 times what I was prescribed. But man, it helped. It freaking helped a lot. Like that 3rd, 4th day, I was able to bear the pain a lot better. Your sister tried to overdose you. How did the household, aka your mom, react though? I mean, yeah, like my mom, she helped me like make me like breakfast, lunch, dinner, all that stuff. Like she fed me, obviously. Like my sister came over. She actually didn't go into work so that she could come over and stay with me on the, I think it was the 2nd day. I didn't think it was gonna be as bad as it was, honestly. Like, I'd like to be like, It was fine. I firmed it. Nah, dude. I that's the most pain I've ever been in my life. You know, and it's crazy to me because during the procedure, it was so calm. It was so relaxed. I was just laying down like, yeah, rubbing my eyes with a toothbrush. It's all good, no worries. And then afterwards, I was like, bro, why does it feel like someone scraped my eyes? What's going on? Like, this really hurts. It was pretty bad. It was pretty freaking bad. After like the 3rd day, around the 4th day, it started getting to the point where I could like squint and open my eyes and it wasn't too bad. And I think that might have been when I sent the message in the Discord updating you guys. Let me see. 4th of December, yeah. So 4th day, 4th December. That's when I was actually like, okay, I can kind of look at screens a little bit. I wasn't like looking at screens. I was just like, I can kind of see. Like I sent that Discord message from my phone because I still wasn't like using my computer or anything. Simi, all you needed to do was rub your eyes and that was it. Apparently rubbing my eyes is what might have potentially made my keratoconus happen. Not confirmed, but rubbing eyes is one of the things they think might cause it. They actually don't know what causes it, but they say that's one of the things. I think that was the worst of it. At that point, I actually did start listening to an audiobook. I listened to World War Z, the audiobook. And yeah, it was really good. I haven't finished it still, to be honest, because it's quite long. It's like, I think 12 hours long. But it's really freaking good. Like, that's a great audiobook. Simba recommended it to me, and it was definitely a great recommendation. So essentially what happened is once it stopped hurting majorly, I think the point where it didn't really hurt anymore was around day 6 or day 7. And that's when it was like, okay, this doesn't hurt, but my eyesight is really bad. It was so bad that for a while, I didn't even wear my glasses because it didn't help. Like my eyesight was really bad. And then wearing these glasses, I couldn't tell any difference. So I stopped wearing my glasses for a bit. I listened to audiobooks. I listened to music. I didn't really listen to any podcasts. I spent a lot of time just sitting down and like thinking, you know. I don't get bored easily, you know, I would say at all, to be honest. I just feel like even if I have nothing to do, I can always occupy my own mind. So yeah, I wasn't bored. The time went by so quickly, despite the fact that I was in a lot of pain for the start of it. It went by really quickly. And yeah, after a week, I went back to the surgeon, and he gave me another antibiotic eye drop to use, in addition to the one I was already using, and the anti-inflammatory drops. So at one point, I was using 12 drops a day, you know, like in each eye, 12 drops a day. And I actually use my whiteboard to keep count of how many drops I'm supposed to be using. Right now, I'm down to 6 drops a day. And by next Wednesday, 2 days. So yeah, in 2 days, I will be on only 2 drops. No, 1 drop a day. I'll be down to 1 drop a day by Wednesday. All I have left to say is, you know, my eyesight has been slowly getting back to being functional. You know, would I say my eyesight is back to what it was before? I kind of don't feel like it is, but it's not that bad either. Like, I think my eyesight is still a bit slightly worse, or just still slightly worse than it was before the procedure. And they said it would take time, like, you know, a couple of months or so, for it to get back to where it was before. And that, you know, it could actually even get better, but don't hold out for it to get better. It should just return to what it was before, because it's essentially the epithelium healing after it's been, you know, sanded down. And what else? Yeah, someone asked, will I still need glasses? Yeah, the procedure is not intended to improve my vision. It's not laser eye surgery. I actually can't get laser eye surgery because the way that works is they cut into your cornea and change its shape. But because my cornea is so thin, I actually am ineligible for getting laser eye surgery. So I am gonna have to wear glasses or contact lenses for life, probably. So yeah. And it's funny when you think about the fact that in a lot of my end of year or like year end recap videos, I made a joke about my eyesight, And then it turns out, oh crap, yeah, you had this thing which actually meant your eyesight was getting worse. It's not just you getting older, your eyesight was actually getting worse. As far as how I feel when I'm like, you know, on a computer and stuff, it's fine. To be honest, I'm doing pretty well. I can use a computer. I feel well enough to stream again. I did have to take an extra week. I wanted to be back in 2 weeks. I'm back in 3 weeks because of the fact that when I was looking at a screen for an extended period of time, my eyes would actually like really start to kind of like get really tired and I'd have to just look away from screens. But now I can look at screens for longer than, you know, about an hour before they get like really painful. So I should be good to stream again. That's why we're back.